This is Mason Steele, and welcome to the first review of the new Witchwood set here. The way I do it is I give these cards a score. We're going to score them 0 to 5 stars based on both the power level and sort of playability and the design. The design could be just flavor. It could just be how well the card is statted for the cost. So if the card is really cool but is just statted poorly, so it will never see play outside of, you know, doing something silly, then the design does take a hit. It's not every card doesn't have to be crazy good, but it's important that every card, to me at least, is playable in the sense that you don't just have a Marabi situation, right? The 6 mana 4/4 never saw play. It probably wouldn't have seen play as a 6/6 either, so making it a 4/4 almost for no reason, that's where you can take a design hit there. But yeah, so let's take a look here. Obviously, the big thing we got going on is the start of the game legendaries. We're going to hope these are going to be free. Let's take a look at them again. Greymane and Baku the Moon Eater. I say they could be free because Cthulhu was given to us free. Now, they didn't announce them as being free as they did with Cthulhu, but since we have so many neutral legendaries revealed already, it's a possibility that these will be free from the get-go. So let's hope we don't have to craft these things. Well, let's take a look at them. I do think Greymane is the better of the two. I think making your hero power 1 is generally better than getting the Justicar hero power effect. We'll take a look at some of the classes. I think the class you look at as a possibility for both of these cards is Paladin. Paladin, you know, can definitely do a turn 1 hero power quite well, and then Baku gives you 2 dudes for 2 mana. That's pretty good on turn 2 as well. So I look at Paladin right away as possibly home for one of these cards. In general, I do think Gen is better just because sort of feeding your hero power in on odd turns seems to be a better thing to do than trying to stuff your deck full of 1 mana creatures to fill in the weird even turns, right? There is a jump in power level generally going from an odd card to an even card. Best example is going from turn 3 to turn 4. The average 3 drop is kind of like a 3/3. The average 4 drop gets a big boost, and that was a design that Blizzard intended from the get-go. Now in Constructed, you know, it doesn't really matter. You're not playing Arena. In Constructed, everything's out the window, right? And when you play Control, you know, it's not as important that you hit every single mana, but in general, when you hit every single mana, you're going to be in a better spot than you would be if you didn't. So Greymane, we can take a look at Greymane here. It's going to be hard to give these cards a rating. I will go ahead and say they are constructed playable, so that's a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm going to assume that Blizzard did their homework on this, and they will not be totally terrible. They will be playable in the right situation. Not necessarily playable in every class, and I think some classes do get left out, especially Rogue. Rogue, because both having a 1 mana hero power is kind of irrelevant with Kingsbane around. Kingsbane just way better than your regular hero power. Baku, upgrading your hero power with Rogue, again, not the best thing to do in the world with Kingsbane running around. So Rogue kind of gets left out in this. I do think Paladin is the best of both worlds here. I do want to give both of these cards a design hit because I do think the stats could have been better. I think Gen could have been a 6/6 at least, and Baku the Moon Eater, well, it could have been not 9 mana, right? If he's going to be 9 mana, then why not make him huge? You know, I do wish these would have been a little bit cheaper. Even Gen at a 6/5 is kind of almost Boulder Fist Ogre status. Obviously much worse than Boulder Fist Ogre as a 6/5 than a 6/7, but anytime you pay 6 mana, you really want to be affecting the board in some way, not just playing some huge dude. And doubly for Baku the Moon Eater. So I do think these cards take a little bit of a design hit because I think they could have pushed the stats on them a little bit more. As a Lina Soul Thief here, I like this card a lot. 7 mana 3/3. Replace your hand with a copy of your opponent's hand. So this is almost like a neutral divine favor, and I love me a Jeeves. So this is kind of almost a little bit better than Jeeves, right? Even though you're paying 7 mana just for 3/3, you're likely to get a lot more cards than Jeeves could give you, especially in a completely all-in kind of a deck. This might fit well into Baku decks that are looking to play a billion 1 mana cards, maybe like a Quest Hunter type of deck. Yeah, you just fill your deck with 1/1s. You're going to run out of cards at some point. Well, use your opponent's hand as sort of resources, right? So I love this card here. I'm going to play with it a lot. Anytime there's a neutral divine favor type of card, I'm always going to be on the lookout for that. Now, a lot of combo players and control players aren't going to like this card, but who cares about those guys, right? We're going to move on to a couple of the neutrals revealed here. Pumpkin Peasant, 3 mana, 2/4 lifesteal. Wow, I like this guy a lot. This is the kind of card I wish was in the previous set. The previous set kind of introduced the game to the keyword lifesteal, even though we have seen it on other cards. This was the first time in Kobolds and Catacombs that we had the keyword. A little bit angry that they didn't make a nice little neutral lifesteal card in the last set. I was hoping the 3 mana 3/3 lifesteal that Priest got and never saw play would have been a neutral, and sort of they would have done something different with the 5 mana 4/4 lifesteal guy. That's just kind of terrible. The Pumpkin Peasant, however, I do think is really cool and really well designed, because it kind of solves the problem of the 3 mana 3/3, right? Now, in some cases, it's going to make sense to play it as a 4/2 against Priest, obviously, and in some cases you just want a 2/4 against Paladin, obviously. So yeah, I really like this guy a lot, and this might see constructed play. It's hard to tell. It is neutral, so it is playable. Worst case scenario, it gets you a few life points. Best case scenario, you might swing twice, might gain 8 life or something. So yeah, pretty cool card here. I really like this card a lot. Moving on, we have a new mechanic. Phantom Militia has Echo. So basically what this means is anytime you play the spell, you can play it again as long as you have the mana. So it's kind of like the Valera Hero Power, or the Valera Death Knight ability, except you can keep going, right? Not just once, you keep going. So at 9 mana, you can play 3/2/4 taunts. That's not exactly super powerful, but there are definitely deck archetypes out there that would make use of this. Just a 3 mana taunt to get in the way in the early game, and then late game, because their plans are sort of very late game minded, they might just want to do something with their mana. Well, you can play a bunch of taunts. Yeah, this guy's okay. You could definitely I could definitely see it seeing constructed play in the right situation. It's battling with Tar Creeper still. Tar Creeper is still in standard, so that is a hit against it. Yeah, even something like it's hard to compare this to other cards because it is kind of so unique, right? It's both it's a 3 mana card, a 6 mana card, and a 9 mana card all in one. Base Collector. This card was revealed recently. It is a rogue legendary, 3 mana 2/2. Not great, but it has Echo. So just like the Phantom Militia here, you can play it multiple times. Battlecry, add a random legendary to your hand. Holy moly, is this value, especially in a class like Rogue, which has many options to get this back into their hand. So if you're going real late and you want to get extreme value, is there any better value than playing this 3 times on turn 9, shadow stepping one of them and doing it again? Maybe they ignore them and you play Sonya and you get them again. Now, what is your opponent doing that they're going to let you do this? Well, they're not doing much, but there are games like that. There are a lot worse things you can do than, playing 3 2/2s and getting 3 random legendaries and possibly, setting up gang up on one, or shadow step, or Sonya, try to get more with Sonya if they live. Yeah, it's just very cool. I'm gonna play this card a lot, and I recommend you craft this card because worst case scenario, you play it for 3 mana, you get a random legendary. Whoa, seems like a low floor, high ceiling on this guy. I like this guy a lot. Black Cat, here we go. Spell power +1 Battlecry. If your deck has only odd cost cards, draw a card. What does odd cost cards mean? Well, you're going to be playing Baku the Moon Eater. And if you're playing Baku the Moon Eater in Mage, well, you have a 2 mana, 2 damage, hero power. I will say with Baku, you can still play Secrets, so that's a thing. All right, you can still play Lackey and Curator Mage, so maybe the Baku deck kind of gets morphed into a Burn Mage kind of style. I just don't see it. I think losing 2 mana cards might be a little bit hard for Mage. The Arcanologist will be in the format still, right? It's from Unguru, so it's still in standard. Yeah, I don't think we are going to want to lose Arcanologist on purpose here. Militia Commander is a 4 mana 2/5 that gains +3 attack when it comes into play as a Battlecry, and it has Rush. What the hell is Rush? Well, Rush is charge that can only attack minions, so this is kind of the fixed charge. If anyone plays Shadowburst, they're going to recognize this immediately. In fact, it's the same keyword and the same ability. So Blizzard has no shame in that, and that's fine. The game needed this. The charge is a problem, and so this is kind of a fixed charge. How good is this card? I think the thing you compare it to is Kirkron Elite. both 4 mana hasty guys. Now one can go face, one cannot. One is great at trading, one is not. The 5/5 obviously trades very well, and I think this does see play in some sort of tempo deck at some point in its lifetime. So I do like this card a lot. I think it's really good. Gloom Stag, 5 mana, 2/6 taunt. If your deck has only odd cost cards, gain +2/+2. So another Baku card here. It will be a 4/8 taunt for 5 with Baku. That's a pretty good reason to be Baku and Druid. Now, when you're Baku Druid, you get a nice little Justicar upgrade, right? You get the 2 mana, 2 damage, 2 armor. That is a pretty good reason to be Baku. The more than other classes, the Druid really kind of ramps it up with that hero power. So I do like it more. I do like Baku more than others, and so this could see play, right? You will not be able to play Wild Growth. You will get the new 3 mana 3/1 Wild Growth guy. The name escapes me. So you do miss some ramp here by being only odds, but there is an odd ramp card. So yeah, I do think we have to look at Druid here. It's too hard to tell, but losing Wild Growth is a big deal. But the Gloom Stag alone is going to be a big body on turn 5 or 4 possibly, right? Actually, how do you get it on turn 4? You can't get it on turn 4. Because if you play your ramp card on turn 3, if they kill it, although if they kill it, then you do. But they won't kill it, right? They're going to leave the 3/1 up. Maybe. They probably will, right? They probably won't ramp for you. So getting this on turn 4 is quite difficult. And we might have to see a new ramp card. Maybe they'll make a 1 mana ramp card in Druid. And what the heck would that do? It would have to like ramp both players or make your opponent give your opponent 2 cards or something crazy. So yeah, we'll have to see here. But on paper, it seems like a good deal. 5 mana, 4/8 taunt, and you have the Justicar hero power on turn 2 as a removal, right? So that's what's cool about Baku Druid. From turn 2 on, you can kind of just use your hero power as a removal, right? Pretty cool. Glitter Moth, 5 mana, 4/4, again with the Beast. Battle Cry, if your deck has only odd cost cards, double the health of all other minions. So we got Baku Priest here. Baku Priest, pretty cool because the Justicar Priest is for healing. Now the big problem I have with this guy is when you are Justicar Priest, the big thing you want to do is kind of flip the you want to do the Akanai thing, right? The Embrace the Darkness or Akanai Soul Priest, Circle Healing kind of thing. All 3 of those cards are even cards, so maybe Blizzard's going to print us another Akanai replacement. That would help the deck a lot. Without the Akanai kind of stuff, well, you're looking at Void Ripper, right? Void Ripper is an odd card, much like Inner Fire. I like Void Ripper here with this guy because you're doubling all your minions' health, and then with the Void Ripper, you can flip all your minions' health. So that's the big interaction there we're going to look at with Baku Priest. So if there's any sort of Baku Priest taking over the meta, it's definitely going to have Glitter Moth and a Void Ripper. So very cool card here. And again, hard to judge. I gave Baku and again 3 stars. I'm going to go ahead and say this is another 3-star card because it is playable. Merc Spark Eel, 2 mana shaman card, 2/3 beast. So they're all beasts here. Battle Cry, if your deck has only even cost cards, deal 2 damage. So this is a Gen deck. Gen Shaman means you get 1 mana hero power. Now that is pretty sweet in Shaman because on turn 1, you got to play. You can make a totem, right? You're probably going to get an 0/2. So you're not going to be able to attack generally with it. But this leads into turn 2 Flame Tongue right away. So Shaman always enjoy having a turn 1 play. How good is the Battle Cry on turn 2? It's not bad. You generally won't be able to kill something on turn 2 because most of the meta is either 1/1 Divine Shields or other 2/3s, right? If you hit a 2/3 for 2, it means your 2/3 will be able to trade and survive, which is not irrelevant. But if this did 3 damage, it'd be insane. It does 2 damage to 3, and Blizzard kind of knows what's going on there. So yeah, it's still really good, and I do think Gen does fit well in Shaman like it does in Paladin. The 1 mana, because turn 1 hero power is pretty damn good in both Paladin and Shaman. And some of the other classes, turn 1 hero power, not great, but in Shaman, it is pretty good. So this guy's quite good. Moving on to another Echo card, Warpath Echo, deal 1 damage to all minions for just 2 mana. This card is amazing, right? It's a 2-mana, it's like a Revenge that can be like a Consecrate, that can be like whatever 6-mana deal 3 is, and it can be like a, I guess, Excavated Evil. It can also be just a huge board clear at 10 or 8 mana, right? Like a Flame Strike. Now, obviously, it does hit your own minions, so it's not like your minions are safe from the Warpath, but maybe you do want to Whirlwind your minions every turn. You know, you got Rot Face, you got Frothing Berserker. How good is Frothing Berserker with this guy, right? Like you have, let's say you have a full Frothing Berserker out, you Warpath 3 times. Well, your Frothing Berserker probably does 30 damage right now, right? It's pretty crazy. But yeah, this is a really good card. It is definitely a staple. It will see a lot of play as long as it is legal. We saw with Bloodrazor. Bloodrazor was a hard card to analyze. A lot of people got it right. A lot of people got it wrong. I was kind of in the middle about it. I was kind of waiting to see. And it is absolutely amazing right now, especially against Paladin. So Paladin's days might be numbered with this card running around the format. We'll see.
Thanks for making it to the end of the video, guys. I have links here for more content. And if you would like to see the channel grow, please click that subscribe button in the middle. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.